For this week's project, we are going to be focusing on sculpture artist Robert Indiana. Robert Indiana is an American painter, sculptor, and printmaker. He was born in 1928 in Newcastle, Indiana, and his given name was Robert Clark. He later changed his name as Indiana. His family moved repeatedly, and he says that he once had lived in 21 different houses before he was even 17. His talent for art was apparent at a very young age, and after attending a technical high school, he was given a scholarship to attend an art institute, but instead of going, he chose instead to enlist in the Air Force. After being in the military, he attended 3 art schools and finally settled in New York in 1954. His early artwork was inspired by things that he saw in the city, like traffic lights, hotels, diner signs, commercial stencils, and things like that. Indiana is most well known for his sculpture work, and his sculptures are usually really large in size and consist of bold, simple, iconic things like words and numbers and letters, short words like eat and hug, but his best known one is his love sculpture. The love sculpture became so popular that a lot of his work started to center around that. He started to create silkscreen prints, posters, and other sculptures focusing around the word and the theme of love. His love sculpture has since been reproduced in a variety of different languages and displayed in places all over the world. Here is a picture of the love sculpture on display just so you can see the size of it in comparison to the people walking down the street. So what we're going to be working on this week is creating a sculpture based off of Robert Indiana's work. What you're going to do is pick one letter or one number and create a 3D sculpture using paper. And this could be a 3D sculpture that stands up just like his, or it could be a relief sculpture, which is something that lays flat and has smaller sections that are coming up to make it 3D. So something that I want you to notice about the relief sculpture option is that these are created on a backing, so like another piece of paper or some cardstock, and then the letter is built on top of that with cutout pieces of paper. So they are somewhat flat, but there are pieces that are sticking up, giving it texture. Like if you look at the letter P for paper, there's lots of little flowers and insects and things that are coming up off of the paper an inch or two. And then some other examples are the letter E, which is something called quilling, which I'll show you guys how to do that. And then just other ways to fold and to shape tape paper to make it into a relief sculpture. There are lots of different ways to create a sculpture out of paper. This image right here just shows you some different examples and ways that you can add to your sculpture, and I will include this picture in your Google Classroom for you to take a look at whenever you need. This is a checklist that includes everything that I'm going to be looking for this project. So the first thing that you are going to do today is you're going to start to plan out your sculpture. And the way I'd like you to do that is inside of your sketchbook that you just finished making, you are going to come up with 3 different ideas and just sketch them out for what you might want to do for this project. When you pick the one that you like the best out of your 3 sketches, you're going to then take that sketch and make it a little bit more detailed and start to come up with a plan on how you're going to make this. Is it going to be a relief sculpture? Is it going to be something that stands up? And what do you think you're going to use in order to make this happen? And then the second part of this checklist has to do with your sculpture itself. So once you start making it, It has to be a standing 3D sculpture or a relief sculpture, which is laying down. It can't just be a piece of paper standing up. It has to actually be a sculpture. And it has to be no smaller than 6 inches. So 6 inches or bigger for this, whether that's standing up or laying on the table as a relief. And then finally, there will be an artist statement that I'm going to ask you to fill out. So for the rest of class today, I'm going to have you watch a couple videos on how to use paper to create sculptures in different ways. And then I'd like you to start planning out those 3 different ideas in your sketchbook. And then hopefully tomorrow you can start to create your sculpture. I'm not going to put a due date in Google Classroom yet for when this is due. I'll check in with you guys throughout the week to see how you're doing, what you need help with, and we'll decide together when we think a good time for this to be due is. So please let me know if you have any questions. Send me an email, send me a message in Google Classroom. But I hope you guys have some fun making these, and let me know anything you need.